Dale, do you remember the first time you were on the property at Austin Country Club?
I do. I remember it. It was about 1988. I was playing in a U.S. Open qualifier here at Austin Country Club, and I was at that time living in Waco. I hadn't moved down to this area yet, so my dad was caddying for me, which was a special time. Anytime you get your dad to caddy for you. Tinsley, Mr. Penick was starting on the first tee for the USGA, and I'll never forget him announcing me. And when he did, we used to have a lot of high grass that was up around number one area, and I hit it about this high off the. I was so nervous, shaking in my shoes. I hit it about this high off the ground, went right over the first tee box, caught the top of this high grass area, and we looked for that ball for about 5 minutes, and then back to the tee, and I had to re-tee again. I'll never forget that. I was so embarrassed. Tinsley was right there, but that was my first time to ever step foot on this property.
Wow.
And it was great. I ended up shooting like 76 or something like that, which I played pretty decent after that, after a double on the first hole. But just getting to have the opportunity to meet Tinsley at that time was pretty special.
So subsequently, you then come here and take up a position that had been held by two other people. In the history of the club, was that daunting? Was it intimidating? Was it exciting? Was it inspiring? Was it all of those things?
I think it was probably a little bit of all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 38 years old and, had been in the golf business for quite a while and didn't really have any idea that I would end up at a private club like Austin Country Club. I just loved golf. And somebody always used to ask me, what's your favorite job? I mean, Austin Country Club had to be your favorite job. And I go, it's one of the most favorite places and one of the most special places I've ever been in my life. But I said, all my jobs were great because they were all golf, and I was doing something that I loved to do. And so when I came here, I think maybe that helped me a little bit to not be so intimidated by the opportunity to follow such two great gentlemen, knowing that one was here for 53 years as a head pro and another one was here for 23 years. And here I pop in and I'm thinking to myself, just don't mess this up. These guys have been doing it right, so just keep doing what they're doing and try not to mess it up. So it was a little bit of all those things.
Sure.
That really made me comfortable here.
What did you identify early on in terms of a culture that was deeply entrenched here, that I'm sure had to make you feel good? What were the things that you thought were emoting from this place when you got here?
I think meeting the people, meeting the members, and Austin Country Club at that point in time, all the old money members were here. And getting to meet people that were, business magnates that just did, that created this city to the way it is, and being around them and understanding how much they love the game of golf and being part of that, I think was probably better than anything. Just because there were just so many great people, and they were all, at that time, most of those guys were probably in their 60s, and most of them were retired and playing 2 or 3 times a week, but they were just so welcoming to me, and I always just felt this calm about this place. I still do today. I drive through that gate and I feel the same way I did in 1995 when I drove in. There's just a sense of calm, and to me it was a place that I love to be and love to go to every day. So 28 years of my life went by like that.
Instruction's an interesting thing in all walks. Like, a lot of people don't want to be told how to do things. They want to kind of try to figure it out on their own. But taking lessons, finding improvement, seeing light in areas that maybe you hadn't seen before. Why do you think that people who are members here and always have juniors, men, women, seniors have been inclined to try to seek improvement from their professional staff here. Why?
I think I think Harvey and Tinsley both teed it up for us. I mean, they believed in making, their joy in life really came from making people better at the game of golf. And I think that inspiration that they had in trying to do that, especially Harvey and Tinsley too, rubbed off on all of us. We had another great guy by the name of Jackson Browley, who was a great player and a great teacher. And he was teaching here when I first got here also. And he taught a little bit with Harvey and a little bit with Tinsley. And Jackson was another one who just instilled this learning ability of the game of golf. And I think our membership just really gravitated towards that. And they all wanted to get better. And everybody that came here, whether they worked for Harvey or they worked for Tinsley or they worked for me, always wanted to make sure that everybody understood that teaching came first here. And that's what this place was all about. And I hope that will continue for another 125 years.
Sure. Let me ask you about Tom Kite, because his relationship with this club, it's intimate, it's daily. The presence of somebody who, I don't think people understand that Tom Kite won the Bob Jones Award in 1979. He was not even in the prime of his career yet, but he had distinguished himself in such a way. Inside of a decade of leaving college, he was the Bob Jones Award winner and subsequently went on, Ryder Cup captain, major champion, World Golf Hall of Fame. What is his presence here on a regular basis for decades meant to the foundation of this place?
Tom has always loved this club, and not just because Harvey was here, but, his mom and dad, when they moved from Dallas and they joined this club, it became part of their life, and it was part of all their lives. And Tom's mom and dad, were great players and on their own part and played a lot of golf. And so I think Tom always had this feeling that he was always going to be at Austin Country Club. No matter where Austin Country Club ended up or whatever happened, he was going to be here. And so I think, for me personally, when I first met him, there's a little bit of awe there. You're meeting.
Sure.
First time he asked me to play golf with him, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to handle this? I hope I don't shoot 100 playing with him, right? And I'm so fortunate now to get to play a lot of golf with him and be around him a lot. And, he's like all the rest of us. He believes that the game of golf is more than just a sport, that it's part of life of everybody, and especially at this club. And whether he's out there hitting balls on the range today, which he still does, and he'll stand out there for 4.5 hours and hit balls just like he did when he was grinding on the tour. And he's always working on something. He's always trying to get better. But if someone is hitting balls next to him and they're struggling a little bit, he'll turn to them and he'll give them some tidbit or some little bitty lesson that maybe Harvey told him. And he'll try to make them better. And I think that, to me, Gary, is something that truly is so special about Tom Kite, is that it's not just about him, it's about this club, it's about the membership and the membership getting better. And to this day, anything he can do to try to make that happen, he's going to do it.
Yeah. To me, great clubs are great for varying reasons, because they're in different places. Los Angeles is different from Austin, as is different from Westchester County, New York. But the great qualities of this club that you said when you got here, I don't want to screw it up. What were those things? What were those things, the tenets, the principles that make this place what it is, that still hold up today? What are they?
I think that's a great question. I think Austin Country Club really truly started out as a golf club, and it evolved into a country club over the years. But it never lost the grassroots side of being a golf club, and it still has it today. And I think because of that, the membership join this club and want to be around this club as much as they can because of the game of golf. That really is what it. Yes, it's a social club to a certain extent, but that's not what it started out being, and that's not what it's become. It's just part of it. It's still a golf club, and I tell people all the time, when we shut the golf course down, there's not a lot of people around here, but when that golf course is going full speed ahead, there's people everywhere, and it creates that excitement. And so, I think the members that joined this club and became and stayed at this club, like Barbara Pewitt and Ron Pewitt, those people instilled in other members how important the game of golf was to this club, and I just think that's what's kept it going the way it is today.
To see juniors take an interest, it might be mild at the beginning, and find joy, maybe even love in the game of golf, maybe even some achievement in the game of golf, and then come back, and whether it's become regular members, which I'm certain many have, how rewarding has that been, and then nourishing for you as a man who's devoted his career to being a steward to the game of golf as a PGA of America member?
Probably one of the biggest joys any golf professional can have is teaching 3 generations of the same family, or 4 generations of the family. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that. And I've been able to see these young people who started out at Sadie Engelman, who started out at 3 years old. I can remember her dad teeing the ball up on the driving range. And here she is, had a wonderful career at Stanford, and is just a great human being and a great person. And that's what's always really set this place apart, I think, to a certain extent. A lot of that's been with Harvey and Tinsley and Anne-Marie Gildersleeve, who's been our director of instruction for so long. Not only has she grown really good players, they've grown really good people. And these young people come back here as junior members, and they still have the same respect and the same love for the game that they learned as they were growing up. And to me, that's like the ultimate. When I'm so fortunate, my son-in-law and my daughter are members here. They grew up at this club. They've met each other at this club. They're now married. I have 2 grandchildren. They're going to grow up at this club, and to me, that's like the ultimate for any golf professional or for any member to be able to see your children, really kind of come through that stage and grow up and become the next stewards of the game and stewards of this membership.
Yeah, for most certainly. I want to ask you now about Tom Kite and Ben Crenshaw, because as somebody who tries to know something about who came before them, there are not 2 people who literally grew up together who have achieved what those 2 guys have achieved from this place. Members of the club when it was at someplace else. Tom's still very present today. For them to be together today, tonight, on that stage, just the reward that is for all these people.
Oh, yeah.
Who have loved these guys their whole lives and have lived and died watching golf shots on television going back 40 years.
That's right.
And here they're going to be tonight sharing thoughts about a central figure in their life that they shared in Harvey and this club. That's got to mean a great deal to you.
It does, Gary. And I'm from that generation of player, and watching them achieve such greatness in their lives as players and people has been so rewarding for me. And I mean, they're my heroes. I mean, there's no question. They were my golf heroes growing up. I grew up about 3 hours from here, and that's all I could think about was Tom Kite and Ben Crenshaw and how good they were. And they and then coming down here and having the opportunity to meet them and be around them and realize how wonderful of people that they are and how different they are, but yet how much both of them loved Harvey Penick, and how much they respected him, and that respect and that love has not wavered one time, and not even to today. I guarantee you, it's hard for them to talk about Harvey without getting emotional. And that's how much of a figure he was to them, a father figure to them. But, you know, and me personally, as a young kid who grew up, got an opportunity to meet his childhood heroes and be around them and play golf with them. It's incredible. And I can remember the first time that Ben and Tom played out here with some of their childhood buddies that they grew up with. It was like, it might as well been Sunday at the Masters, because everybody, you could hear the buzz around the club. Ben and Tom were playing together, Ben and Tom. And it was just so cool to see them in a situation now that they're, you know, not playing golf competitively anymore, but still hanging out with their buddies. They're guys that they grew up with in high school and having a blast out on the golf course. It was just phenomenal. They're great people. It's
great people, great representatives for the game of golf, for this city, for this state, for this club. It's amazing. So as we look ahead, 125 down, going forward, what do you expect that the next 125 years at this club? So much will change.
Sure.
It's inevitable. What won't, and why?
You know, what I hope and what I believe will happen is that the love for the game won't go away. That golf is the common denominator that makes this club successful, that makes the people here so happy. We're blessed to have a wonderful golf course designed by a wonderful man, Pete Dye, and it's one of those golf courses you never get tired of playing. So I think that helps also to just keep people coming back for more, because they love the golf course and they love trying to beat it. I think this club will continue to have some of the best people in Austin, Texas that are members of it. I don't think they'll ever forget their history. I think the history of this club will continue to be always on the forefront. Nobody's ever going to forget about Harvey, and they shouldn't. And if that happens over the next 125 years, this club will continue to be as special as it's been for me for the last 28 years.
Last thing with you talking about special to you, what was and remains the greatest reward of representing this club for you, for the time that you did and still do as the emeritus in the position you're in?
Well, one, I'm super blessed to have that title, have a title that only Harvey had, and I feel pretty special to have that. And so it's important to me to make sure that no matter where I'm at around the country, that I'm always representing Austin Country Club. I used to always tell my assistants when they came to work for me, I said, one thing you got to remember about coming to work at Austin Country Club is that you will always be representing Austin Country Club, and you should never forget that. I said, because Harvey never forgot it, Tinsley never forgot it, and I try not to ever forget it. And I said, if you can always do that, and you can always keep Austin Country Club on the front burner when you're out, and when you're thinking, when you're around members, this place will always be special, and it'll always be special to you and be a place that you truly always want to work at.
You're a credit to the game. You're a credit to this club. What a wonderful celebration.
It is.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, you bet.
That was
my
great.
Pleasure, man. You bet. My pleasure. We're so glad to have you.
Well,
appreciate you coming.
Oh,
and doing
absolutely.
This. Yeah,
great night. Barbara's tremendous.
Oh my gosh. Well, and had it not been for Barbara Pewitt, I would have never been there.
Really?
I mean, I was at a club right up the road here called River Place, and we were redoing it. Tom was redoing it, and she showed up one day. I was really the only employee, me and the superintendent and Tom. We were redoing this golf course, and she showed up one day and she said, I want to introduce myself. My name's Barbara Pewitt, and I teach all the University of Texas informal classes. I had no idea what that was, but I said, oh, well, that's wonderful. It's nice to meet you. My name's Dale Morgan. I'm just recently here. And she said, I'm looking for a place to teach my classes. And she said, we just don't really have a lot a lot of places in town. And I thought to myself, here I am at this place we're building. We don't have any members yet. I need people to see it. Here's this lady that just came out of nowhere. So I said, you know what? I tell you what, Barbara. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will let you use the driving range and teach your classes here. One condition. She said, what's that? I said, you got to let me teach with you. I said, if you'll let me teach with you and just observe. You don't have to pay. I'm not asking for you to pay me anything. I just want to be a part of it. And she said, really? And I go, oh, it'd be great. I said, I'm new to town. I haven't been here very long. I said, it'd be great to meet people. And she said, okay. And so literally, that's how it started.
Wow.
And Gary, seriously, one day we were standing out by the snack bar after the golf course had opened up.
Yeah.
This was about 90, I'm going to guess and say this was about 93,
Okay.
93, 94. She came to me and she said, Dale, I've been thinking about this. You know what you need? You know where you need to be? I'm totally lost. I love him. I'm loving my job.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And she says, you need to be the next pro at Austin Country Club. And I said, Barbara, why would you think that?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's not who, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't follow those guys. And she goes, yes, you can. She goes, you need to be the guy. And I'm telling you right now, when that time comes, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to tell you, it's time to go interview.
Wow.
And that's literally how it all happened, Gary. It happened that exact way.
Wow. Wow.
So I owe that woman a lot.
Yep.
I guarantee you. She's a special lady.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Let me de-mic you, bro.
Let me
Thank
know
you.
if you need. Let me know if you need anything. Okay.
That's on record for posterity. Love it. I never stop recording.
Hey, you never stop me. Hey, sometimes some of the best stuff you get after the camera's over, right?
People usually get real comfortable after, like, oh, I stopped recording. Oh, I'm still recording.
That's right. All right.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Harrell.
see you
Thank
all
you.
later.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to meet you, bro.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, team effort. Thank you so much, Gary.
Yes, ma'am.
It takes a village.
So we have an hour.